Fani or Fani Willis, whatever the fuck. She is a DA, the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia. And you guys might have heard a lot about what's going on down there. But she's also prosecuting right now Young Thug, who is a rapper, Grammy Award-winning rapper, for RICO charges because he was having people murdered. He was selling drugs. Allegedly, he hasn't been convicted yet. It's actually really funny because one of the lawyers for the gang, because there's several, and they call themselves Young Stoner Life or Young Slime Life. One of the lawyers for one of the YSL gang members just got arrested for gang charges for tipping off someone that they're about to get arrested and to tell them to get away from their phone and stuff. It was a whole situation. Kind of funny. Then the girl she's ghetto as fuck, right? This lawyer's ghetto as fuck. She goes for the brothers. It's pretty funny, actually. She, we'll run that video, actually. But so Young Thug, the lady in charge is Fani Willis. And we had heavy snow, and now I'm outside, t-shirt, snow is still melting. Oh yeah, that's the shit right there. So let's go check this out. So this is back, and Young Thug trial kicks off. Messy opening statement from Fani Willis' office. The racketeering case against rapper Young Thug, which took a long and messy road to get to trial in Fulton County, Georgia, kicked off Monday with a similarly troubled opening statement by prosecutor from Fani Willis' office. One comment in particular stuck out to anyone who has participated in or observed criminal trials. That was when Chief Deputy District Attorney Adrian Love told the jury, "What you will not hear any evidence of is that the defendants were not involved in a criminal street gang." Okay, so you could see that they don't really have their shit together, right?
What you will not hear any evidence of is that the defendants were not involved in a criminal street gang.
So it was a double negative, right?
You will not hear any evidence that they did not commit crimes on behalf of YSL.
It's kind of a retard way of saying, that you're going to hear evidence that they are a street gang. I don't know why she said it like that. It's kind of fucking stupid, but when you see that it's top-down incompetence and just illegal happenings, right? Like just corruption, you're gonna see why her whole regime is just sort of not with it. And right now you're seeing a lot of people make this all about race, and that's ridiculous. If you're committing a crime, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. You're committing a crime, especially if you hold an office and you work for the public. Anyone who holds an office should be held to the highest fucking expectations, right? And furthermore, they should be held to the highest fucking repercussions. I support cops. I don't have a problem with cops. I have a problem with fucking with corrupt cops, right? And I have a problem with a system that supports corrupt cops, because you could be a good cop and your partner could be doing some shady shit, and if you don't say anything, then you're participating in it. And if you do say something, there is a system that protects these corrupt cops because it's a brotherhood. It's a fraternity. It's not cool. Fuck you. Fuck a dirty pig. This is for educational purposes only, friends. That's what a racist would say. So, with that said, anybody who's working for the public, especially a district attorney who's supposed to be holding people accountable, they should be held accountable to the highest offense. And we're going to find out that these folks are not, these are not competent people here. What you will not hear, Your Honor, is any evidence stating that my neighbor was not the one that drove my car into his retaining wall. You're not going to hear that. Yeah, it's why are you saying it like that?
And as I stated to you earlier, what I'm saying to you now, this is not.
Let me object to that statement, please, as burden shifting.
Object basis?
Burden shifting, and under Parker versus the state at 277.
There's
Why don't we
young
take that up
thug.
and I'll note your objection. I'm sustaining the objection. Why don't you rephrase, madam?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just rephrase it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to explain to you at the appropriate time, ladies and gentlemen, what the burden is in this case. Remember what I told you earlier? That the burden never shifts to the defendants to prove or certain innocence, they're presumed innocent. And it's only until you hear evidence that you decide is sufficient, and I'll instruct you on how you're supposed to do that at a later point.
Okay, so the prosecutor oddly structured statements raise what's known as burden shifting. As even casual trial observers or law and order viewers may know, the burden is not on the prosecution to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. A related but perhaps less appreciated point is that criminal defendants have no burden at all. They can just sit through the trial and then argue to the jury in closing statements that the prosecution hasn't met its burden. So these are the people who are now tasked, and this woman ran on the idea that she was going to take down Trump, right? And that's not her. That's not Fani Willis. So let me see here. This is Fani Willis talking about the young thug trial. We'll watch this. The fact that the judge has to remind them that the burden of proof is not on the defendant. Guilty until what is it? It's not guilt. Innocent until proven guilty, right? It comes down to that.
Good afternoon to you all. Thank you all for coming out. Want to acknowledge the DA and Fulton County Sheriff. We're here today to speak on the arrest of Jeffrey Williams.
That's young thug.
In collaboration with Fulton County DA, our aggressiveness or any other.
Let's hear from Fani herself.
To the DA.
Thank you, Chief Bryant. Today, I'm joined by the Atlanta Police Chief, Chief Rodney Bryant, as well as my sheriff and our sheriff, Sheriff Patrick Labatt. We are here today about a grand jury indictment that was returned that included not just Jeffrey Williams, which is of some notoriety and media attention, but about 28 defendants that operated within our community between the time period of 2012 and 2022. It is our allegation that they operated as a criminal street gang and commenced to do havoc in our community. That havoc includes crimes of violence, crimes of thefts, crimes involving drugs. I've made no secret about it, nor any apology, that as the District Attorney of Fulton County, my number one focus is targeting gangs. And there's a reason for that. They are committing conservatively 75 to 80% of all of the violent crime that we are seeing within our community.
So she is taking that same strategy towards the president and charging the ex-president, I should say, Donald Trump. And I'll keep reiterating this. This is for educational purposes. I am not a fan of Donald Trump, but there is a concerted effort to discredit and make sure that Donald Trump can't run in this upcoming election. She tasked herself with taking him down on a state level, saying that he calling it a RICO case for election interference, which even with my stupid brain, that doesn't make sense. But, we're not going to talk about the ins and outs of the trial itself or of what charges she's bringing against him. We're going to focus on her misconduct. So this was back a year ago, and during this time, she was having an affair with one of her employees named Nathan Wade, who had zero experience in prosecution of any kind in RICO cases, let alone like such a big high-profile case. And we're going to watch breaking something. We're going to watch a segment from them because they did a really good job of kind of explaining what's going on. And then we're going to kind of look at some videos of her freaking out and shit because thank you. No worries, Naders. Have a great rest of your day, buddy. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate the congratulatory kind words. So let's go and check out Breaking. What is it? What are they called? Breaking Bad? No, it's not Breaking Bad. Where is it? Oh, blessed is the fruit. So let's start here. So the Donald Trump Georgia election fraud case, prosecutor Nathan Wade's ex-partner texted about earlier timelines for affair with DA Fani Willis contradicting their testimony. So they testified that they didn't start a relationship until a certain time. There's evidence and corroborated evidence between a friend and an employee that say that it started back in 2019 and that she hired this guy because they were lovers. And they ended up spending almost $700,000 on luxury vacations, and their case is just terrible. It's just terrible. So let's read through a little bit of this. Their text messages are coming out because Nathan Wade is in a divorce trial right now, and all of this information is coming out because his wife is trying to take him to the cleaners, which fair enough. He's cheating on her. It's wrong. I'm not here to judge people for cheating, although I think it's a terrible thing to do to somebody. That's their own shit. And and Fani and Nathan are trying to pass it off as just like, this is a relationship. I know how you're going to judge us for that. And it's not that. There is more to it than that. When you're using taxpayer money to fund vacations, that's illegal. So let's read a little bit into this, and then we'll jump into that video wherever the fuck I stashed it. It's over here somewhere. Breaking Points is the one. Anyways. Trump special prosecutor Nathan Wade's former law partner and divorce attorney seemed to admit in a text message read out loud in Atlanta court Friday that Wade and District Attorney Fani Willis were in a relationship before 2022, which they testified that that's when their relationship started. I'm happy I came here instead of listening to 1001 Israel Gaza hot take. You know what? I'm ready for that actually sounds amazing. 1001 Israel Gaza. We were supposed to go over Roger Waters and some of the Israel stuff, but we're not going to make that for sure because I got to end by 4:40. So, special prosecutor Nathan Wade, we read that. The marathon 2-day hearing into the details of Willis and Wade's affair wrapped Friday afternoon. There is a chance the two prosecutors could be disqualified from the case if evidence is produced that shows an actual conflict or an appearance of one, Fulton County Superior Court judge says, which could mean that the whole case could be dropped against Trump. So people are rooting for this because they're rooting for this person because they hate Trump so much. And obviously they made it about race. So now people are saying, they're just going after this black woman like they always do when, she's actually over here committing crimes. Embattled Fulton County DA Willis. Oh, wait, what is it? Willis and Wade, from whom the DA appointed as a special prosecutor in the Georgia election fraud case, had both been seeking to get out of testifying at this week's hearing, where a Trump co-defendant is seeking to have the case dropped against him over the prosecutor's alleged misconduct. Embattled Fulton County DA Willis, who brought criminal charges of racketeering and election meddling in 2020 presidential election against the former president and 18 other defendants, testified Thursday about when her tryst with Wade began. Willis yelled out, "It's a lie," from the witness stand when defense attorney Ashley Merchant questioned her about sleepovers the pair allegedly had at their home. So she came in the courtroom. She wasn't even supposed to testify. She came in and just was like, let's get in on this. We're going to testify today, and proceeded to make such a bad case for herself. It was terrible. It was terrible. I've been watching the highlights over and over again. So let's try to find, and by the way, this is her talking about how she's going to be a different DA
Because they deserve a DA that won't have sex with his employees. Because they deserve a DA that won't put money in their own pocket when it should go to benefit children. Because we deserve better.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, it's the people who talk the loudest and go on the attack the most who are the ones who are doing the dirt, right? Like whoever smelt it, dealt it, right? Not in all cases, obviously. This is a highlight reel, which is very fun, but that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, so let me just go in my history. I thought I had this pulled up, but obviously I didn't. Where the fuck is... Okay, I'll just go to my channel. Shut this the fuck up. No one wants to hear that. We'll go to history. There we go. So I think
at the
Breaking
same
Point's
time
did a
here
good
domestically,
job
as
on
we've
talking about this.
discussed a lot here, Fani Willis, actually I believe it was with you, Ryan, last time we did a little bit of an update on this story, who's the prosecutor in the state of Georgia, is in major hot water there after it was revealed that she was having an affair with the top prosecutor who she had hired in the Trump case. He was paid some $700,000 nearly by the state. The major reason she's in hot water is not because of the affair that's come to light through his divorce proceedings, but because it appears that they took many lavish vacations together, and there's no evidence, Ryan, that she reimbursed him as she is required to do by state law. So in the middle of the hearing, there was a dramatic moment where Fani Willis originally was defying or saying that she would not comply with a subpoena to come and testify, rushed to the courtroom to try and tell the truth, and quickly fell apart on the stand with her story. The story that the two of them have decided to concoct is that while, yes, they did attend many lavish vacations and take a lot of cool trips together, hotel rooms, etc., that she did pay him back, but she did it in untraceable amounts of cash, is what she had to say.
Cash is
Let's
king.
talk about both of those. I know he initially paid for it. Did you pay him back?
For the cruise and for Aruba, yeah, I gave him his money before we ever went on that trip.
You gave him cash before you ever went on the trip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so when you got cash to pay him back on these trips, would you go to the ATM?
No, lady.
You would not go to the ATM.
She said, no, lady. Like the way that she comes off in this, which is being cheered by a lot of people, like, oh, she owned them. She owned them. Like, no, she owned her own shit, man. Like she did. She fucked her own case up by being so disrespectful, so cocky about shit, deflecting like blame and stuff. It's really cringy.
No. And my worst days has probably only been $500 or $1,000. At my best days, I probably had $15,000 in my house at cash. At all times, there's going to be cash in my house or wherever I'm laying my head.
The money that you paid Mr. Wade, the cash, in October of 2022, you do not know where that money came from.
I do know where it came from. It came from my sweat and tears.
It came from her sweat and tears, Ryan. However, when she was asked if she could produce withdrawal and deposit slips from the ATM and she could prove from her bank account the withdrawal of said cash, she said, well, it's just accumulated over the years. Who knows where it came from? It's a very interesting defense, one that actually spawned a discussion here in our studio. I was told I'm out of touch generationally because I don't have sympathy for people who just keep vast amounts of cash around. And listen, you know, at a level of like the Great Depression and not trusting the banking system, listen, I'm totally with you. There's just a little bit of a problem. It turns out that Miss Willis pays her rent with the Cash App, and that whenever it's convenient for other expenses that she does use, you know, credit cards, the bank, the official banking system, traceable banking system, it's only in this instance where she's being asked to provide evidence that she did, in fact, not flout Georgia corruption law and did pay back her lover for the lavish vacations, that she does claim that she had this vast amounts of cash that was available to her, and that in every single instance, unlike previously when she was using legitimate banking tools or traceable ones, that she did not default to that in every instance. Very reasonable and very obviously not a cover story, isn't it?
Right. And he makes a great point. It's like you paid every other aspect of your life you're paying with Cash App, or you have a paper trail for how you spent that money. But in this one instance, And Nathan Wade agrees with this because obviously they fucking worked this shit out. They paid in cash. And her whole testimony was like, oh, it's a black thing that we keep tons of cash in the house. I get it from my dad. My dad, keeps lots of cash around. He's always told people to keep cash. He's always taught us to keep cash. So I paid him with the cash that I had in my house that I earned through my blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, great. But, it doesn't look good. So are they going to, I don't know what the outcome of this is yet, but that sounds like they're just making shit up as they go, and that they spent taxpayer money on lavish vacations.
It certainly does stink like a cover story.
Cover story.
I always root for people to get away with cover stories.
Yes.
And I hate the way that the state can trace every little dime.
Yeah, I hate it
that
too.
you're spending.
Yeah, and exactly. Look, I'm all about cash is king too. There's certain things that I buy in cash only, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you are dealing with such a high profile case, and I think they even mentioned this coming up, it's like you're dealing with the ex-president of the United States who's a billionaire. You don't think he's gonna they're gonna root around and find all your holes and the cracks in the fucking pavement? It's incredible to me. It's incredible to me how some people are so confident and they feel like they can do whatever they want because they've been doing whatever they want and get away with anything, and they don't think it's ever going to come back to get them. It's crazy. And you're in such a high profile case. Not only are you in a high profile case against the president, but you're in a high profile case against Young Thug. How will this affect that trial? I don't think it will, but it might. It might.
Get me wrong. Right.
So the way that this kind of cover story.
I want to go over now and start.
Wait, October 2019.
Just show you guys some of the way she reacted to some of these questions. So like, here's something.
It is a lie. It is a lie.
Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
She's out here yelling at people about lies. Oh, they're making fun of her. Even MSNBC were saying that it's over for her, just the way she was acting.
It's so legalistic centric and yet so important and fascinating.
Right. Don't let the legalese fool you. This is epic. This is monumental. If things are going in the direction we think, Fani Willis lied to the court, it's game over for her. She will be disqualified if they had a relationship prior to when they represented to the court.
So she's also lying under oath, and she's spending taxpayer money, which I don't know if they can't really prove anything because of this cover story of cash. And here's MSNBC.
It's a huge deal. I can't overstate it.
And do you feel the same way, Charles, based on the testimony of what we just heard? And we just learned Nathan Wade, who is the special prosecutor in this case, walked in the courtroom.
Okay, so there's some of the stuff that's been going on here. Let's look at some of these numbers.
I think we
I very much want to be here, so I'm not a hostile witness. I very much want to be here.
Not so much that you're hostile, Ms. Willis, it'd be an adverse witness. Your interests are opposed to Ms. Merchant's.
Ms. Merchant's interests are contrary to democracy, Your Honor, not to mine.
A Fulton County district attorney in charge of criminally prosecuting former President Donald Trump for interference in the 2020 election shockingly took the stand during a hearing in the case. Fani Willis had sought to avoid testifying about the allegation she was in a romantic relationship with the special prosecutor she assigned to the Trump case. But in an about face, she stormed into the courtroom and she insisted that she testify.
Please, give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visited you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here.
She's acting aloof and she's deflecting blame and stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. And like, hey, Ty.
I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Willis?
You see.
Mr. Sena, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes.
The Fulton County District Attorney made headlines when she brought RICO charges against the former president and more than a dozen of his
She should have never
staff.
fucking took the stand. Like, she was better off just not taking the stand. And she burst into the room, into the court, and was like, no, I'm going on now, and proceeded to make a fucking ass of herself. Such a bummer that this clown got the Trump case. Thankfully, there are plenty other, but she has made that one so much less serious and credible through her conduct. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly right. And if Trump was doing some kind of meddling with the votes and stuff, you know, he should be held accountable. And for her to take such a high profile case and blow caution to the wind, I mean, it just says a lot about her office. And we saw how they were acting, you know, with the Young Thug trial, the opening statements. Like, you're talking about people who are, who have, I don't know, who I don't see the competence. It seems like incompetence, and like even Papa Sweet was saying, it's either misconduct or incompetence. Either one is unacceptable. I love that scene in Casino where Robert De Niro is talking to that senator whose son works for him, and they had a machine that was winning too much, right? And he was like it was a slot machine, and he was like the boss of that. He was like the slot machine boss. And the dude was like, listen, he's either in on the scam or he's incompetent. It's like either one is unacceptable. And that is such a great quote. I love that scene because it's like it perfectly encapsulates, like, listen, we're talking about these high profile cases that you should have your best and brightest on, and you're just sort of phoning it in while you're on lavish vacation spending taxpayer money. She has the balls to say someone else is the threat to democracy while her own actions are completely obfuscating any point she might make. Yes, and isn't that how it usually ends up? Like, you know, like with the whole Hillary Clinton and the Steele dossier, it turns out she's the one who's colluding with Russia. I think that's how it worked out. And she's accusing fucking Trump when it all turns out to be bullshit. And I think someone went to jail for making that shit up, right? Like, I forgot the whole thing. I might be talking out my ass. See what I'm saying? We just talk up here and then shit just comes out. All right, let's see some more of these.
In an extraordinary moment, Willis marched into the Atlanta courtroom while attorneys were arguing over whether she should be forced to testify. As she approached the prosecutor's table in court, she looked before the judge, and as the entire gallery watched, she uttered 4 simple words: "I'm ready to go."
She just stayed her ass out of there.
I would ask, I need filed our motions you tried to implicate. I slept with him at that.
Let's start back in 2019.
Yeah.
So you and Mr. Wade met in October 2019 at a conference?
That is correct. And I think in one of your motions you tried to implicate I slept with him at that conference, which I find to be extremely offensive. I stayed at that conference. Mr. Wade was my teacher. I did not meet him when he taught the class.
You know, and she's sort of like on the attack here. It's like, no, you're the one under suspicion here. Like, you're the one that we're talking about here. And I was offended by that. And so many times we find people hiding behind, you're being offensive. You can't say that about me. It's like, well, yeah, you can if you're building a case and you're lying in court and you are using taxpayer money to go on vacations while you bang the special prosecutor that you hired in. That is a problem. And so, like, it's always the deflection thing that always gets me. Has anybody ever dated somebody who is like a chronic liar or a cheater? And every time you go to approach them, they just like try to turn it against you. It's like, what is this text message? It's like, why are you going through my phone? Why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. You always do this to me. You're the one who's always blah, 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 blah. They try to fill the space with the things that you did wrong because they don't want to admit that they were caught. That's the vibes I get from Fani Willis.
I was standing outside talking to Lisa Reeves, who
previously lived in Yurt's condo prior to their fallout, and the defense hammered her on whether Wade visited the condo prior to the election interference case. But Willis fired back, asserting the defense accusations were all lies.
How often did Mr. Wade visit you at a place where you were living between 2019 and 2021?
So you want to start with the lie that he lived with me in South Fulton in 2019, a home he's never been to? That's one lie you told in your document.
No, Judge, I didn't ask her about that.
Ms. Merchant, I want you to ask a very precise question. I think she's saying and answering that he did not live with her. So why don't we break that up into smaller parts?
She put in 3 different documents he lived with me.
Full opportunity to respond.
And filed that with the court. Professionalism. No, while we're talking about professionalism, she put in 3 different documents he lived with me.
Full opportunity to respond.
You have a full opportunity to respond,
And
but
she
yeah.
filed that with the court.
In 2019,
he's never been to South Fulton. In 2019, I lived in South Fulton. He has never been to my residence in 2019, ever, not once.
in 2019, he's never been to your residence, any place.
I lived in my home in South Fulton before I started getting the threats that were here. A house I paid for with my own sweat and tears. I'm no longer able to live there. But in 2019, I did. And in the 2 months of 2019 that I knew Mr. Wade, 3 months, the beginning of October, all of November, and all of December, Mr. Wade never came to my house in South Fulton. And I could still enjoy my home. Mr. Wade never came to South Fulton, and it is certainly a lie that he lived with me.
Then it came time to question Willis about the vacations the two took together and who paid for the trips.
Talk about, you said that sometimes you paid Miss Yurty cash. When you went on vacation,
I find it offensive that you you point out my mistakes.
Let's just go one by one. Let's start with the first one. What's the first time you went on vacation with Mr. Wade?
And of course, this has to be embarrassing for her. Like I on a human level, I'm sure this is just awful, right? Just has to be very embarrassing. And who wants to talk about this secret tryst you had and you broke up a family, ruined a marriage? Like no one wants to deal with that. So I get the defensiveness. It's such, and I don't want to give her, I don't want to dehumanize this person. But again, like you are in a very high position of power, and you're obviously sitting there and abusing it, and you should be held accountable. And, on a human level, it has to be terrible, I'm sure.
I think the first time we went on vacation was around April of 22, and a vacation is a stretch, but I'm trying to be comprehensive. Again,
She's already been caught lying about timelines and when the relationship started. And you have corroboration between, I believe it was an employee of hers and a friend of hers who corroborated that they had been in a relationship since 2019, making her a liar. You were right on when you said that she should absolutely not have taken the stand. This is why I go for a walk. I'm mad at my partner and wait until I'm not emotional and have a conversation. Yeah, and you know what? And for anybody who's out there who tells your partner the fucking, no, you're going to face me now and we're going to have this conversation, fuck you. And, no offense to anybody, but like, no, especially if you know yourself well enough to be like, I need to go cool down before we have a conversation because I know I'm going to say something out of pocket. It's allow that space. Allow that space, because that's the best way to fuck up a relationship, is to force someone to like have a conversation that they're not ready to have in the context that, your emotions are high. Like, always come back to the table fucking when you had time to chill. Bill, what's up, buddy? Welcome in. We're talking about this one. Young Thug's lawyer. Or, prosecutor.
April of 22. His birthday is March the 18th. So that would have been his
just
49th
her
birthday.
indignant. She's just so indignant and just so disrespectful to the court. It's crazy to me that this was even allowed.
April of 22.
Who paid for the hotel?
I think I did. It was his birthday.
When did you start dating?
When I started dating Mr. Wade, it was right around then.
April 2020?
22, yes.
2022.
It was around there. I don't know, like, you know, it's not like when you're in grade school and you send a little letter and it says, will you be my girlfriend, and you check it. I don't know the day that we
Papa
started
Sweet.
seeing each other, but it was early.
It's less immoral than your machine gun. It's not a machine gun, moving Dutchman. It's an AR-15. It's far from a machine gun. It's an automatic rifle. But that's not what the AR stands for.
I went to Florida on vacation as well.
I don't recall going to Florida.
See, and then she starts doing this whole like, oh, I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't remember, which is like what everyone says when they don't want to admit something. I don't remember when we did that, even though you guys know and have witnesses saying that we were together well before what we said in court.
You never went to Florida with Mr. Wade?
When we stayed when the ship left, and then there was
that was the time that you said you stayed in Miami at the hotel the first night?
That's the time I told you I am not sure.
No,
So I'm not sure.
I don't know.
And I also don't remember, so that the
I
record
don't
is clear.
remember.
I don't remember if the necessity was as we got on the ship or we got off the ship.
It's not. It's automatic it's only automatic moving Dutchman because it chambers another round in it. Fully automatic is what you're talking about when you hold down the trigger and it goes. Da, 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 da. It's a semi-automatic, but it's automatic reload instead of like a bolt action where you have to put in a round every time you shoot.
But I do remember there was a night spent in Miami because either whatever, I don't remember. But I think that there was a night spent in Miami.
That cruise is the one that you took in October. I'm not asking you which night you stayed in Miami. I'm asking if you took a cruise in October.
That's something called, Mr. Wade is a world traveler. I'm not as versed as him. He's been to 6 of the 7 continents. And so he has both a personal travel agent and he also has a cruise travel agent. I don't know anything about either of those kind of travel agents. So he is the one that would book the travel. But we need to be clear when we're talking about just because he booked it doesn't mean, like, I don't consider him having taken me anyplace.
Word salads.
And I
Word
did 50
salad.
big.
And then after that cruise,
I did 50 big. She said I did 50 big, which don't know the vernacular. It means she had a good time for her 50th birthday, and she spent probably a lot of taxpayer money.
couple days in a hotel there, correct?
Right, and his mother was not happy
He
that we left her
initially paid
behind.
for that.
Look at, and she's happy. Did you see her face when she was talking about his mother was not happy? And like, ugh, that made her smile. Of course her mother wasn't happy. You're breaking up a family.
For Aruba, yes, ma'am.
So let's talk about both of those.
Ms. Money, before we ever went on that trip. No, lady.
No,
You would not go to the
lady.
ATM.
No.
Okay. So Fulton County pays you direct deposit, I assume?
Yes, Fulton County and the state of Georgia both pay me direct deposits.
Okay. So the cash that you would pay him, you wouldn't get it out of the bank?
I have money in my house.
You have money in your house. So it was just money that was there.
When you meet my father, he's going to tell you as a woman, you should always have, which I don't have, so let's don't tell him that. You should have at least 6 months in cash at your house at all.
No, and look, there's nothing like they were saying on Breaking Points, philosophy, politics, wealth, health. I'm with it. Yeah, we were talking about Phil. We were talking about Vosh's little scandal that's going on with lolly porn and horse cock. So, and it turned into a conversation about CP and stuff. It was a serious conversation. Obviously, we're against CP here. There's no excuse for CP. Just so you know what we're talking about, bud.
All time. Now, I don't know why this old black man feels like that, but he does.
But yeah, and she says old black man, and I don't see a problem with somebody stashing cash. Cash is king. If you guys know anything about Dave Ramsey, cash is king. Always have cash on hand. There's nothing wrong with that, but like the point that they're making in Breaking Point segment that we were watching is that she she pays her rent through Cash App. She gets direct deposit, all that stuff. She does everything else through traceable means. But just for these one thing where she's being accused, where they're using business credit cards to take lavish vacation, she uses the cash from her own home. I don't have 1 week of cash in my. Well, and you know, that's an old school thing. I don't trust banks, of course. So you're talking about artwork, lollies, and with horse cocks. No. If you know anything, if it's that, then there's no harm done. It's an expression of art. I see nothing wrong overall about it. I understand where you're coming from, Phil. It's just the way Vosh talks about it, and he's just under fire right now. If you know anything about Vosh, he's fucking such a libtard fuck. I don't have 1 week of cash in my house. 6 months. Hey, we're moving Dutchman.
How dare you? Growing up, my daddy had 3 safes in the house. That has been, don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
Look.
He worked more hours than he was paid.
Mr. Wade money through Cash App.
No.
The only money you've ever given him outside of a contract is cash.
I didn't give him money in a contract, so that was cute, but I didn't give him money outside in a contract. What happened, no, we're going to answer it since you said it. He worked more hours than he was paid, and the county paid him for the work that he did. So don't be cute with me and then think that you're not going to get an answer.
And I will ask you about the contract in a minute.
See, it's just the way she answers shit. Like, it just feels like so fucking like she is just like again, it's like the girlfriend who got caught cheating who's a narcissist. Like, it's always going to be turned back around on you. It's always going to be an attack on you. It doesn't feel right. And so you have a bunch of people who are like rallying for Fani. Fani Willis testimony evokes long-standing frustrations for Black women leaders. So of course the AP comes in. MSNBC was running defense for her. It's crazy. Artwork. Yeah, no. And you know, it's not anything that I really have a problem with. It's the fact that how he's talking about it and how he's like, yo, this looks like children and it looks like CP. And he fucking, you know, he just rallies around this point. That's it. I don't really care. I didn't know about Lolly. If you want to watch Lolly, that's fine. It's not a big deal to me. It's literally just how Vosh is sort of interacting with it and talking about it. Okay, let's run through this. Let's see what I haven't read through this. I just can't wait to read it. And then I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to take Saucy to swim practice. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis is used to prosecuting high-profile and challenging cases, but she parried questions about her own personal conduct from the witness stand against the legal teams for defendants. Her office has accused of election interference. Many Black women recognized a dispiriting scene. Don't be cute with me. You don't be cute with me. It absolutely feels familiar. There is no secret that the common sentiment among Black women in positions of power is that they must overperform to be seen as equals to their counterparts, said Jessica Ornsby. Here, Miss Willis is being scrutinized for things that are not directly related to her job performance in ways we see other Black women regularly picked apart. That's fucking full of shit. Because she's lying under oath and she's using fucking taxpayer money to go on vacations. That's fucking illegal. By the way, she was also fucking using fucking a campaign. She's doing campaign finance fraud. I mean, she even says in her testimony, oh, I fucking have money left over from my campaign, some cash that I had left over. Oh, really? Okay, great. Here, Ms. Willis is, okay, we got that. Willis testified during the extraordinary hearing that could result in her office being removed from the state's election interference case against President Donald Trump. She was questioned Thursday about her relationship with the attorney leading her office prosecution, Nathan Wade. Willis and Wade have acknowledged that they had a personal relationship, but have denied improper conduct. Regardless of the legal merits of the claim by Trump and his co-defendants, what Willis's conduct was improper. Relationships between coworkers are often prohibited and must be disclosed in many workplaces, including in major private law firms. Willis has faced criticism from many legal experts, otherwise supportive of the case due to her relationship with Wade. Yeah, it was an inappropriate relationship, but I'm not going to fucking sit here and judge her for having a relationship with some dude, okay? This shit happens. It happens. But when you start lying about it in court, it's something that you're supposed to uphold the law, and you start fucking spending taxpayer money on lavish vacations, then we have problems. In interviews with the Associated Press, many black women leaders expressed frustration and disappointment that a public attention had turned from the merits of the criminal case to the personal conduct of the black woman overseeing the prosecution. For them, the court challenge to Willis echoes familiar experiences of tests of their authority, competence, and character, all of which should be questioned all the time, no matter what race, no matter what gender. You're fucking in a position of power that you can ruin people's lives. You can send them to prison forever. You have the power to say what is and what isn't. So yes, you should be scrutinized. You should be fucking held accountable all the way to the fucking fullest extent of the law, if not more than a private citizen. I love that she stood up for herself, but I hate the fact that she had to. She said, let's see, Melanie Campbell, president and CEO of the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation. She said when she saw a video of the testimony, she felt, why are you all treating her like she's on trial? Because her ethics are being called into question. And if she's unethical on the way that she's prosecuting people and she's practicing corruption, then yeah, she needs to be questioned, and it does need to be a part of the trial. She is on trial in a sense. Boy, these are shitty ass politicians get in office. They do whatever they want. And then, yeah, exactly. And this isn't just Fani Willis, right? We have this across the board, black or white. Joe Biden and his fucking son, and Burisma, and the Chinese, and the big guy, which, by the way, it was confirmed that Joe Biden was the big guy. Someone just came and testified. I forgot who it was, but it was confirmed that he was taking kickbacks, influencing, political influence. Get the fuck out of here. It's not just black people. It's not just Mexicans. It's not just the whites. It's all these people who come into power and they start believing that they are above the law. And fuck them and fuck the horse they rode in on. Excuse my French. Black women feel like we're under attack, and that's a fact. And look, let's not take away from the fact that yes, black people in the workforce, especially women, have eaten shit before because of their gender and possibly because of their fucking race. Yes, this happens. It does happen. But to sit there and run to that excuse while she's fucking over here committing campaign fraud and fucking lying under oath and fucking being just unethical as shit, I'm sorry, that just kind of goes out the window when you have the full facts in front of you. Dude, we've known Joe Biden was the big guy. I know, but you have to but how many news outlets has reported that that someone actually testified under oath and confirmed it? It's always been like, oh, we don't know who the big guy is. My ass. So I figured that this is what this article was going to be about. Bunch of fucking bullshit running defense for Fani Willis because they want Trump to be prosecuted so bad that they're willing to overlook corruption to get it done. Again, I'm going to say this, educational purposes only. I'm not a fan of Trump, but it's very obvious that there is a concerted effort to fucking keep this dude from running. And look, if he's guilty of something, hold him accountable. This whole New York thing, that's a different thing. I don't even know about that shit, but it does seem like that was some bullshit too. But, I'm not a lawyer. So they found him guilty of fraud in New York. I guess that's what's going on. All right, guys, I got to go. I wish I could stay longer. I'm going to try to come back on Wednesday. We got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about Satanism at the Super Bowl. We got Israel and shit with Roger Waters shitting on Bono. We got all kinds of shit to talk about. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping through. He never had a trial in New York. Yeah, well, no, it was a submarine. Is that what it was? Yeah, see, I don't even know. Like, they knew what they were going into. Like, they knew the outcome of that summary judgment before he even went in there. All right, Papa Sweet, thank you for the fun. I love you guys. Be good. Take care of your fellow human beings, friends, and just be good to each other. HJ's for everybody. Love you. Kisses. Bye. Love you. Bye, Ty. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and the baby. All right, guys. Take care. Try to be back Wednesday. Jump in the Discord if you guys want to know what's going on.